Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV, where we today want to start another custom delivery. And that begins here in Ralga's Reach at Galliana. Now this is a Stormblood custom delivery, so we already need to have unlocked the collectible rewards for Stormblood, which you also get from here. I heard from Orphans that you're quite the artisan. If that's true, I've got a proposition for you. As I mentioned before, we like to think that our relationship with the people of a reach is mutually beneficial. We create jobs and opportunities for people to live better lives. Perhaps you know M'naago, one of the leaders of the resistance? She's not only agrees with what I said, but has even taken a personal interest in the collectible trade. But while I'm sure she's a brilliant soldier with a head for tactics, the collectibles market is an altogether different battlefield. Still, with the help of a few good crafters and gatherers, I'm sure she'll find her footing in no time. That's where you come in, if you want to, that is. Go and see her if you're interested. Or don't. Because mutually beneficial. If I help, they win. If not, not their loss. M'naago. Good to see you, Desiree. If you're looking for Lise... No, I'm looking for you, in fact. Huh? Who told you I'd taken an interest in the collectibles trade? I'm surprised. I knew you were many things, but an accomplished artisan was not one of them. We would have been fools to turn you away when you offered to help the resistance, and I'd be a fool to do it now. You're probably wondering why I decided to try my hand at a different trade? The truth is, it's not for me, but for the ones who couldn't be here today. The ones who aren't here to see what we've accomplished. A free Ala Mhigo, a new beginning, a new future. After we defeated Xenos and the 12, I thought long and hard about what I ought to do next. I was with the relatives of some of the dead in recompense when I realized I had lost comrades, but them? They'd lost husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, breadwinners. Every day would be harder than the last. We've won them freedom, aye. The freedom to be poor and die starving. Where's the justice in that? So I decided I'd do something about it. I'd establish a fund for the widows and the orphans, a way of giving a little back in honor of those who gave us their all. There was just one problem. I don't know the first thing about making gear. Other than soldiering, my only other talent was hunting, and I not to raise more than a fraction of what I need selling pelts. But when little Galliana told me about collectibles and the prices people were willing to pay, I knew I'd found the answer. I'll not deny I've got a lot to learn, but I'm ready and willing to give it my all. So what say you? Up for helping me fill custom orders for a good cause? Because I'll not ask you to do it for free. You get your cut. Scripts, good with any of the house's people. Of course, scripts. I'm in. Glad you have you on board. First order of business, I'm in the market for some Gearbanian souvenirs. Since the liberation of Ala Mhigo, trade with the other regions has been steadily increasing. Commodities people had to struggle to get are easier to obtain, and people are getting a taste for more and more, Britannians in particular. I got a feeling there's going to be the start of something special. Custom deliveries unlocked. M'naago. Okay, what are we looking for? The standard explanation. How custom deliveries work. Gear Albanian souvenirs. But where do I buy the souvenir components? Star Crack Sand and Gear Albanian Chap. Okay. Then let's go gathering. I think you were the one I had to ask, right? No, not here. Not this. Yeah, Albanian souvenir component, yeah. Okay, M'naago. Let's do our best. Yeah. Star-cracked sand. Star-cracked sand, is it? Superstitions notwithstanding, it has an aesthetic appeal that even our neighbors to the west can appreciate. Much obliged. Now then, on closer inspection... Bugger me, you don't see something like that every day. Hey, so lucky to see something like that once in a blue moon. I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. Yeah, first successful delivery. Turn in more, and there are waitings here. Fish, I got lucky. My mother practically raised me on grilled Albanian chap. He is hoping that Gridanians appreciate this taste of home as much as I did as a child. Now then, great. Just barely great, but great. Because great is collectibility ranking 77, and that was what the fish had. Ah, so you brought me some Albanian souvenirs. Good, good. For all they preach about not being wasteful, they sure don't seem to mind wasting gil. Now then, closer inspection, it's great. Thank you so much for all your help, Desiree. I think we got enough goods to satisfy my Gridanian clients, or better yet, whet their appetite for even more. The Gridanian collectors sent their warmest regards this way. The items we provided were quite well received, I'm told. Thanks to the contributions of you and others, we've earned enough gil to start providing payment to some of the bereaved families. In fact, a young woman from Women's family is here today and would like to say a few words. My name is Jermaine, miss. I joined the resistance together with my father, but when the Imperials attacked the Reach, he was killed. I'm grateful for what you're doing. I am. I won't deny it's been hard ever since he passed, but I wasn't expecting anything, nor do I think I deserve it, but thank you all the same. I didn't want to be a soldier when I was little. I wanted to learn things, get an education. Didn't work out that way on account of the occupation, of course. That's why father and I joined the fight. But now that the occupation's ended, I've been thinking. When Ala Mhigo needed soldiers, I became one. But now Ala Mhigo needs learned men and women. So I'm thinking that's what I'll use your guild to finally become. Thank you for this opportunity, miss. Go, fulfill your dream. Xenos himself cut her father down when he came to the Reach that day. From what I heard, he died giving his daughter a chance to escape. We all had to make choices that day. I was wounded, so I chose to flee with Kral and a few others. But I wanted to stay and fight. I told him. I screamed at him. But I'm afraid he wouldn't hear of it. So he stayed, and I ran. I lived, and he died. Came to light recently he had family too. A wife and child. He never mentioned them before, so I had no idea. I'd like to help him like the other families, but we don't know where they got to, or even if they're still alive. But we'll keep on searching until we do. In the meantime, I'll have to content myself with helping those I can, and I do hope I can continue to count on you for assistance. This is but the first step on an endless road. Full many of our friends died, and we owe it to them to do right by their loved ones. And we will, Desiree. I know we will. Where there's a will, there's a way. A supporter of the Resistance's... what was it? Widows and Orphans Fund? Supporter of the Resistance, Widows and Orphans Fund, yeah. Much to be done. New favor. We did well with those Gridanian collectors, but we need to expand if we want to continue raising money for the fund. In short, I'd like to start dealing in Far Eastern collectibles. Apparently, according to General Alden, there are a number of wealthy individuals in Ulda with a deep and abiding love for all things Hingan. It goes without saying that the Uldan elite have more gil to spend than their Gridanian counterparts on average, so I expect we can turn a greater profit from this venture. It'll be more work than before, but I know you're up to the task. Sure, but next week, I think. Or at least next week for us together. I'd probably turn those 3 we have this week in, but I show it often next week. So we have a step over to the next rank in here as well. Good. Until then, welcome back to another week where we turn in. Oh yeah, I need the proper jobs. Okay. More stuff to M'naago. I went a bit overboard, fished more when I needed to, and gathered and everything. They really do look like a piece of coral, don't they? I can see why collectors seek them out for their aquariums. Now then, on closer inspection, bugger me, you don't see something like that every day. Hell, you're lucky to see something like that once in a blue moon. I don't know what you're doing, but keep it up. These days, more than a few Eorzeans have a fascination with all things Hingan, bordering on obsession. But so long as they pay for their korban, I'll have no qualms indulging them. Yeah, you see it once in a blue moon, maybe. And... crafted antiques, whatever. Far Eastern antiques, is it? Damned if I know you can craft an antique, but collectors don't seem to pay it any mind. If anything, this sort seems to appeal more. Now then, closer inspection. Great work. That ought to do it for now, Desiree. Give me a moment to add this to our next outgoing shipment. It's even better than we hoped, Desiree. Those Uldan collectors, it's their best to outbid each other for our Far Eastern collectibles. The proceeds far exceeded our expectations, with enough to expand our operations and start looking after even more families. Excuse me, well, no one of consequence, really. It was my son who fought and died for the resistance. I came to thank you for your kindness and generosity, especially at a time like this when everyone should be looking to bigger and more important challenges, like the rebuilding of our great nation. My son liked to say that when the fighting was finished, he would become a merchant. He'd sell anything and everything so that he could earn money and look after me. I suppose in a way he is now, but I'd give it all up and more if I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect what you've done for me and mine, but thank you, miss. Good day to you. My son died when the main tower at Specula Emperor Taurus fell. I was with Conrad before it happened, with him when he was urging those damn fool skulls to lay down their arms and surrender. And he managed to do it. And then... Part of me still wonders, after... Did we owe it to them to try and save them too? To dig through the rubble and try to help the ones who were trying to kill us only moments before? Conrad would have wanted it, I know. But he was in no state to give orders. And those of us who were there, well... So he died, and they died. Conrad, our comrades, enemies that surrendered and those that didn't. Death all round and round. Not that any of us had an inkling of what was coming. Would Conrad have spent all that time in negotiating if he had? Would he and full many others still be alive if he had? If. Sodding if. Sorry, no use dwelling on it. Best to look at the here and now. To what good we've done. To what more we can do. Always talk about Conrad? Don't know if you knew, but he had a wife. I've not taken any guilt to her yet. Reckon she'd like to refuse until she knows the others are being looked after. So I'd thought it best to wait. When the time comes, though, perhaps we ought to go and see her together. M'naago now considers you a benefactor of the Resistance's Widows and Orphans Fund. There's still much work to be done before the fund can provide sufficient aid to all the families of the deceased. To that end, M'naago has a new favor to ask. Like before, I'd reckon it'd be for the best if we tried to trade in a more diverse range of collectibles. Next, I think we ought to try our hand as consolation prizes from the Gold Saucer. I trust you're familiar with the saucer and its many delights? It's no secrets, but in case you were unaware, it employs more than a few Ala Mhigans. One of them happens to be a friend of mine. I mentioned the fund one day, and just like that, we get ourselves a new partner in crime. Let me explain. There are prizes available only at the Gold Saucer, and commodities sold exclusively to them by certain select suppliers. We are now one of them, savvy? I wager you didn't think a soldier like me had any truck? With places like the Saucer, eh? Bet you're wondering if I might run off for profits and spend it all on MGP and silly ads? With hair like this? Like hells I will. Alright, enough talk. Let's get to work. Custom deliveries have been updated, and with that I say until next week. And another week for M'naago. Bugger me, being a merchant's a lot more time than I've ever imagined. How are you holding up, Desiree? Here's some stuff for you. Some consolation prizes. Not everyone can walk away from the Saucer with a fabulous prize. Some people even prefer these. There are even others who won't even bother to visit, but like to pretend they did. Or maybe they got some other reason for buying them. Who knows? Now then, closer inspection, it's great. Cotta Dynasty relic. Some of the more educated collectors say the Near Eastern influences are quite prominent in these designs. I don't know about that, but I know that plenty of people are happy to pay good gil for them. Or MGP, as it were. Relics and a maiden's heart. Little buggers may be hardy, but they need just the right conditions to form the shapes people prefer. At a glance, it seems you've brought a promising specimen. And that, I reckon we got more than enough for our needs. He's hoping the folks at the source are satisfied with the quality of our work. Good news, Desiree. The consolation prizes we sold to the gold saucer turned out to be more popular than we ever imagined. More profits mean more aids for our families. And in fact, we've got enough to go around now that I doubt Conrad's widow would object to taking some for herself. Also, we found Method's widow. I have a mind to visit with both of them to deliver their bit, and soon. I think I mentioned this to you before, but I was hoping you'd want to come with me when I do, on account of your connection. When you're up for it, let me know. M'naago considers you a savior of the Resistance's Widows and Orphans Fund. A new quest continuing the story of the Resistance Widows and Orphans Fund is now available. Upon its completion, the custom delivery list will update. Not while their names are still spoken. So you ready then? Good. This is long overdue. We start by paying a visit to Method's widow. She's living in Alagiri with her daughter. I'll need a moment to gather my things, so go on ahead and I'll meet you there. Because we can't travel together. This is probably one of the things I find most immersion breaking in the game. This, go there, we meet there, because we can't walk together, because how? They are not players. This is Gala and her little girl. I asked them to meet us here so we might have a bit of privacy. I'm looking skeptical right now, just because this is a relatively open place. Put it that way, I'll not pretend we got it easy, but I never asked for anyone's charity. Least of all his. Our marriage, such as it was, ended ages ago. But I don't understand. What's that too? He said he wanted to fight the good fight, but was afraid to putting us in danger. Was all bollocks, and we both knew it at the time. Fighting for your homeland sounds noble, it does. But it was nothing more than an excuse to not be beholden to his wife and daughter any longer. You're wrong about him, and I can prove it. There's something else I brought for you. What is this? A charm? Method's. He was holding it when he died. Desiree can attest to that. Not a ward of a destroyer, but a hand-carved wooden charm, with the faces of a mother and a child. Don't you see? What mattered to him most in those final days wasn't his homeland or his faith. It was his family. Method. That's what I believe, at least. But I won't presume to claim I know him better than you did. I do know he'd want you to have his money, though. If not for yourself, for your little girl. Thank you. For everything. I'll be sure to put this to good use. Alagiri saw more than its fair share of Imperial soldiers during the occupation. No one with any ties to resistance was safe here. I imagine that played a part in the decision Method made. Who knows why he never told us? For their sake or for his? Maybe both. No use dwelling on it. From here we got to continue east to see Conrad's widow. He had her hiding in an abandoned village deep in the mountains for some time. But now that the occupation's ended, there's no need for that. She's living in the Ala Mhigo quarter at present. I'll lead the way. Desiree, yes, I knew you at once. Mrs. Gret, she's been waiting a long time to meet us. I've heard stories about your fund and what you've done for the families of the fallen. It's good work you're doing, and Conrad would be proud. And you must be Desiree. I'm grateful to you beyond measure for what you did for my husband and for our homeland. There's no need to stand on our account. Please, take a seat. Told you about my legs, did he? Well, I'm not too proud to say no. He told me a lot about you too, M'naago. Enough that I'm half tempted to call you Nago, even though he didn't. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. We never had a child of our own, and yet the way his face would light up when he spoke of you and your mischief, like a father boasting about his little girl. I couldn't help but think of you in that way too, sometimes. He was a father to all of us in a way, and we're all better for his guidance. I wish I could have done more to repay the favor when he was alive. Or to you now, but all I've got to offer is that guilt and my gratitude. You've done so much more than you realize. You've changed people, spurred them to strive to be better, like the young man who's been helping me. Speaking of which... Mrs. Grid, I went and bought those things you wanted. Wait, I know that voice. But from where? Specular Imperators! You were the one speaking for the skulls! But how? I thought you all died in the main tower. You've got a good ear. You're right, I'm Rudolph. And I was one of the Crimea Lupi. Don't remember much of it when the tower came down. Hit my head or something. All I remember was waking up beneath a pile of rubble. Lucky to be alive. Fair enough. But tell me, why would you come here? Where else could I go? Apparently the Imperials were willing to kill me, and the Resistance weren't like to treat me any better, I reckoned. Best chance I had was to take off my uniform and join this lot. Had no idea what had happened, to be honest. Wasn't till later that I learned Commander Kemp himself had died in the battle. Didn't know much about the man, other than he was the leader of the Resistance. But he had a wife named Gret who'd gone into hiding. But he died because he wanted me and my comrades to live. I owed him. So I sought her out and did what I could. Would never make up for it, I knew, but it was better than nothing. A way to pass the time until you found me. Honest to a fault, isn't it? It's like the moment he took off the mask, he couldn't hold anything back. After all the effort Conrad went through to save his life, I thought it'd be a shame for it to go to waste. So I accepted his help. I knew it couldn't last, that you'd find me one day. I'm unarmed. I surrender. Do with me what you will. No. Got nothing to do. By I see it, the skulls died that day in the tower. But why would you... Cause sometimes you gotta try not hitting the other person back. Otherwise, we'll all have bruised knuckles and bloody noses. I don't know what to say. Thank you. I appreciate you agreeing to look the other way. Conrad would do too, I'd like to think. You wanted to give him another chance. It's not my place to take it away. Goddamn dust getting in my eyes. We honor the dead by living well, by carrying on their legacy, as in many ways you carry on Conrad's. But we mustn't forget to spend time with the people dearest to us while we still can. You still have both your parents, yes? You ought to go and see them. I'm sure they think about you every day. Yes, I do just that. It's on the way back, so if it's alright with you, I'd like to pay a visit to the Peering Stones. Thanks. It's been too long since I saw my mother and father. Today might not have been the day, but I know I've got it coming. I'll be ready when it does. That must be a life. To expect every day they come to arrest you and beat you to death or something. Hello, Maras Noon. Oh, there she is. The pride of the Ant tribe. I only wish you had sent word in advance so we could have begun preparation for the feast. Please, Father. We're only here for a short time. We had business in the peaks. And I thank you to stop with the pride of a tribe rubbish. Now. What's the word come to if a father can't dote on his daughter? And besides, it's true. You ought to know by now how much your sisters look up to you. Aye, it's nothing but... Look at Nago going out and getting things done, moving up in the ranks of the resistance, bringing honor to the M tribe. People are telling that story for years, you know? How you rode up there through a storm of cannon fire to the top of Velodina with nothing but a satchel of glamour prisons and won the day. Pity you got no skills other than soldiering, though. Your cooking's especially bad. I meant to ask, Father. We're short of wood for arrows. Meant to go and gather some myself, but I wasn't sure where I ought to search. Gather? Child, you should have learned by now that you have little luck finding suitable trees near our village. Better to trade for the wood. You know, I started a fund for the widows and orphans of the resistance soldiers who died in battle. We raised a great deal of gil through the collectible trade, and in the process I've made friends with a lot of merchants. If there's anything the village lacks, maybe I could use those connections to get you what you need? So little Nago has taken up a new trade. If I had to choose between bartering with a stranger in Alagiri or relying on my own daughter, then it's hardly a choice at all. I'll be in touch then. I promise you won't regret this. Right, we should hurry back to the Reach. With me, Desiree. Even if I must usually content myself with only hearing that she's hale and hearty, it will always be far preferable to see her in the flesh. As long as she's happy and content, so am I. I learned long ago not to try and dictate the course of my children's lives. Thanks again for accompanying me, Desiree. I know it ended up being a lot more complicated than expected. Well then, I promised my father I'd help the village, and I mean to do just that. I'm in the market for sundry goods, and if you could help, I'd be most grateful. You'll still get your bid as well as a fund. Everyone will be happy in the end. You have my word on it. I'm counting on you, partner. Alright, but we will do that next week. Alright, another week for M'naago. For once we left behind, and those we've still got to look after. Let's do some good today, Desiree. Sundries. One glance is all it takes for the memories to come flooding back. Never the neck for weaving, but it's never too late to learn, I suppose. You have my heartfelt thanks for these. My parents besides. I'd like to think the tribe is doing alright these days, but every bit helps. Seems they've got a good catch there. Skilled chef could cook it a la Meunier, but me? Well, I suppose I could blacken it over coals or a cook fire. Edible, sure, but I can't vouch for the taste. You have my heartfelt thanks. Can never have too much pigment. Many of our tribe elders would say. Not that I need to tell an adventure of it. I've heard stories of how some of you lot go through enough died to put a sultana to shame. Give my heartfelt thanks. Thank you so much for all your help, Desiree. I think it's safe to say that the tribe will be overjoyed to receive these supplies. Everyone in the village was overjoyed to receive our supplies, but the quality and quantity surpasses their expectations. It puts my mind at ease to know that the tribe has what it needs, and that we'll be able to continue sending regular payments to the beneficiaries of our fund for the foreseeable future. Mother? What are you doing in the Reach? I know you're awfully busy with your duties in the fund, but there was something I wanted to say when you visited before, but couldn't. Come home, M'naago. Ala Mhigo is free. We've done enough for these people. Come home and be with your family again. But Mother, I have responsibilities here. To the families of your comrades, I know. And I think what you're doing is wonderful, but I worry you place their needs ahead of your own. You deserve to live your own life, to do what you want, what makes you happy. I'm doing what makes me happy, Mother. Don't you see? Helping these people in this way. And there's so much more we can do. I know it's not the life you had in mind for me. It's not what I had in mind when I was younger either. But after everything I've been through, everything I've shared with my brothers and sisters in arms, I can't just walk away. It won't make up for what they've lost. No amount of guilt weighs the same as their loved one's soul. But it's better than nothing. So no, I won't go back. This is the life I chose and I have no regrets. Still have that same fire in your eyes and steel in your voice you had when you said you wanted to join the resistance. Can't blame a mother for trying, can you? I respect your decision, and I say no more on it. All I ask is that you come and visit more. Much more. I'll see what I can do, Mother. Well, that was unexpected, but not entirely unwelcome. It's good to remember where you came from and why you did what you did. Anyway, now that we've finished with our effort to help my village, I'd like to concentrate our efforts solely on doing what we can for the resistance and the families in need. With your help, that is, assuming I can still count on you. Whatever you are able and willing to provide is all I ask, Desiree. M'naago now considers you a champion of widows and orphans. M'naago could not be happier with your efforts. Your efforts with fun will provide substantial benefits to the families of the fallen resistance fighters for some time. It seems, however, that M'naago has a different sort of favor to ask of you. So I imagine you're wondering exactly what sort of deliveries I had in mind. Frankly, I say why not focus on ourselves and what the resistance could use? Materials always appreciated, amongst other things. Rebuilding Ala Mhigo is going to take everything we can muster. Artisans like you will have a reliable client in us. Everything you got and more, we'll take it. Future requests will be selected at random from all those you have seen thus far, with a list refreshed once a week. You may review the items currently in demand by speaking with M'naago and selecting Make Deliveries. Note that resistance material, yellow kutsu roots, and purple bucklers with the fish will earn you particularly handsome rewards. Whenever they make an appearance, the effort to procure them will be worth your while. Okay, that was it. And unlike other custom deliveries, you can't dress M'naago. She probably was too important, or suspected to be important for a future plot to make some dress-up shenanigans with her. Alright. Yeah, but that is custom delivery with M'naago. Until next time, I'm Ace, and don't get lost.